find it sleeping in its nest before it wakes up. Touch it gently, you want it feeling completely calm, so you can hold it in your palm and help it grow just like it was born to be. Come.
Welcome to 111 Life. My name's Nicola Lewis. I've got with me Josie Vinten and Gaynor Thompson, and we are going to be talking today around synchronicity and just some of the sayings that life puts out there, and also to talk a little bit about what's been going on over the last fortnight astrologically, because so much has happened in my life, in my mum's life, and also in Josie's life, and it really relates to what's been happening in the planets and how that can be affected. And it's not just us that's been affected, obviously it's a worldwide thing, but I'm now going to hand that over to Josie to explain a little bit more about how that can affect everyone.
So today is the 7th of May, for reference for anyone listening at a later date. So the past 2 weeks have been pretty turbulent, but especially for our Scorpio placement friends. And I've seen this especially in Scorpio risings, because the full moon that just happened, it was a lunar eclipse, and there's been a cycle of eclipses over some time in Scorpio and Taurus, and now they're ending. And that was actually the last one, so it was like a big build up. Uranus was involved in this eclipse as well because it was conjunct, so the energy was quite erratic. And with that full moon in Scorpio, for one, the full moons always bring things out of people. That's why they're called lunatics, because lunar means moon, and the full moon throughout time has been known to make people crazy. The full moon and the lunar eclipse brings everything to the surface, so you really can't hide from anything anymore, and you have to face your shadow, which is a subject that Scorpio rules, and you have to face your sort of deepest, darkest parts of yourself and things that you've been hiding from, things that you don't really want to face. So it's a very tricky time for people, and it's just been a very intense energy.
Tell me about, Josie, you were saying that there's another sort of 6 months of this kind of phase within astrology. What is that about?
The eclipses affect us for 6 months afterwards, so we're really still going to be going through that, and things are being revealed, they're being brought to the light. Just like the full moon, it illuminates everything, and that's how I really feel. It's why on a full moon, you might feel extra emotional, you might be seeing the truth of things, and you really just can't get away from that. But all darkness must be brought to light, or whatever that saying is about the light transmutes the darkness. What is that saying? It's something like you have to bring the light, has to be brought to the dark for it to
balance the yin and the yang, and
yeah.
Sometimes the pendulum swings to the dark, so you have to bring back the light.
Yeah. You have to go through the darkness to see the light.
Right,
maybe
absolutely.
That was the saying. There is a specific one, but for the life of me, I cannot remember. So maybe it's not meant to be said today.
I'm sure someone in the group can post that.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. But what I would say to people is that whatever's coming up in your life right now, good or bad, take note of it. Take the signs, because we do get signs every day in life. Even little ones, like a while ago when I was going through quite a predicament then, few months ago, I kept seeing mold everywhere. It was in the fridge, it was on cups, just like extra amount than normal. And that was really saying to me that there was a moldy situation in my life. That was dead. That was a dead situation, but new life can come from it. It's the same with anything you're seeing in your life repeated. It's speaking to you. It's trying to get your attention.
But if it's no good to you, let it go. We've learned that over the years. Sometimes we hold on so much to things that it needs to go out of your life.
Yeah.
The best saying I like is, do what you love and all else follows. If you get that gut feeling and it's go, 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 please don't hang back, because so many people are afraid of making a mistake. The mistake is the gift.
Did you not turn your phone off?
Yeah, I did.
So I'm going to just kick off with an incident that happened to me a little while ago, say about 7 or 8 days ago. And I was out shopping, and what happened was I was in the shop looking at clothes. There was no one in there apart from the man behind the till. And out of nowhere, I heard this spinning coin on the floor, and it was a 2p piece. And I watched it spin and then land on the floor, and from there I started to look round the shop to see if somebody had dropped the money or whether there was a child outside the door or what happened in some way. And there was no one. So I picked the 2p up and I thought, God, that's a little bit of a message for me. And then I started to think about all the sayings around pennies. So you pick a penny up, see a penny, pick it up, put it in your pocket, it brings you good luck. 2 a penny, 2 sides of the coin. And that goes on. I mean, there's lots more, and I'm sure that will come out in a minute. Now, moving on a little bit more, there was also an incident in this sort of experience where a bit of animal power come in. Now, I don't know if any of you are aware of animal power. They call it animal medicine, your spirit animal. But every single animal on the earth, like us, have a personality or a type of character in how they live, how they love, how they mate. And what's happened... Bless you.
Sorry. Thank you.
We're looking at signs. So sometimes we can be driving along and you see something that you haven't seen before, but it's always been there, but all of a sudden you notice it. And there's like a knowing. And as you'll get to know throughout these episodes, I'm always going to say you know when you know. And that's the kind of experience you get when you get these inclinations or you get these sort of signs that something in your subconscious, whether it's spirit, whether it's the universe, there's something probing you to take notice of what you're seeing, because in that seeing is a story that may be unfolding in your life and trying to show and guide you to the next phase. Now, one thing that happened in this phase, in this moon phase, was the animal power would be also enhanced, because we're going to notice things and we're going to be heightened emotionally and sensitivity. Is it sensitivity?
Yeah.
And while I was communicating between my mum and Josie throughout this experience I was having over the fortnight, Josie had this massive spider appear in her room, which didn't go away for a couple of days, did it?
Well, it appeared one day when I was actually voice noting Nicola. I saw it. You can hear me go, oh God, and get scared by it. And then the next day, I saw one in my hallway, which actually lives in the house. I'm quite fond of it. It's fine. It just lives under the carpet. And I thought, oh, he's just looking for a snack. And then I saw the same one on the wall going up to the stairs. And I literally backed away from it. But obviously, you'll go more into the symbolism of that, because when Nicola came back to me with her interpretation, her information on the animal power, it really resonated with what I'd been going through.
Well, I'm going to then just sort of like move over to Gaynor, because I then relayed the story about the spider to my mum, and then I was talking about these 2 penny or the 2p piece, and I start to say about how I was experiencing life at that particular time. And with that, my mum come off the phone, and I'll hand this over to you, and you can go into a little bit about the spider medicine, and I'll come in on the back of you. But you then come off the phone, started hoovering, and now over to you.
Yeah, it was really strange. I'd had people in, and I just got out the Hoover, and in my hallway is like it's a draft pillow, I call it, and I moved it, and there was 3 spiders there, and I was thinking, oh God. One was big, which I'd always call a big one Mildred for some reason, and then I had another size and another size. But before I could say anything, I took the 3 up in the Hoover. And I do not kill a spider. If you want to live and thrive, there's a spider run along. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I've taken these up. But when I think of it, at the moment, with this full moon, I'm Cancerian, so the moon affects me anyway. And I always think, what a tangled web we weave. Now, it's rather, when it comes on full moon, it rather blows things out of proportion, or it shows you a different way.
Yeah.
And when I sort of looked in, a spider is the feminine energy. And not only that, it brings in abundance. It is really new beginnings, free, new beginnings, new starts. And I was thinking, oh my God. But then, because of it, I just became agitated. And I think that's because of the way it was outside.
So, sort of coming in on the back of that, over my life, I have experienced so many different times where I've had the animal medicine come into my life and show me and teach me about what's happening and how to manage maybe my emotions, my character, maybe my work life, my home life, my children, whatever it is. There's always a message in a message. And many, many moons ago, I moved in with a friend. And the first time I experienced maybe this spider's medicine was I moved from home and I had like a clothes rail because I didn't have a cupboard at the time, and it was in my mum's garage, and I took it, a great big clothes rail it was, and then inside, because it had been in the garage, there was spiders' eggs. And one day I came in and the whole of my clothes was covered in miniature spiders. Oh my God, even now my skin is crawling. Anyway, it was really distressing because it took me a long time to get them all out of my clothes. And then the next time I had an experience with a spider was when I moved again. And I'd moved into a place in Bexley and I was pregnant with my second son. And I literally had bare floorboards. Now, this is the truth. I was up the stairs, and you call it Mildred, I'd call it a monster, what I had. It was like it was as big as my hand, and it was actually going down the stairs, and I could hear its feet pitter-pattering down the stairs. Ugh. Anyway, I thought, I've got to get it out. How am I going to get this? It was a crazy big spider. So I had a broom and I was brushing it down the stairs and I was trying to get it through to the front door, and I literally got it to the front door and it was fighting with the broom to come back. It didn't want to go outside. It was so annoyed. It was jumping on the broom to not be pushed outside the house. Anyway, coming back to the animal medicine, for me, not only was there an interesting connection about movement, hence their 8 legs, but also at the time I was teaching, I was moving around in different jobs. And every time I found spiders to be around in my life, I also had this synchronicity of whatever group I may have been interacting with, whether it be socially, whether it be in work, whether it just be, in my family life, there would be one person that would be really, really probably teaching me a lesson at that particular time. And when spiders come out and into your life, they make you jump. And it's a little bit like a shock factor. When are you going to wake up to something? Or who's got your power? Are you in control? Are you going to get caught in the web? So everything that I've experienced with the spider medicine, I relayed to Josie. And I said to her, I really do feel like there is something in your life that you're having to learn about being in groups. Now, I don't know whether anyone knows, but I'm sure that some of you out there may have had an experience that you'd like to share with a spider. But there is actually, and I researched this many, many years ago, because when I was working with women, I was working with women's groups, women's development groups. And I thought of the spider at that time because there was many of them coming in and out of my house. I did live in a rural area, but it was very pungent at that time that they were around in my home. And I thought, I think I'm going to look up a little bit more on spiders. And I thought, I wonder if there's any spider women out there. And I went on to Google, and there is actually a group of women that are from indigenous places in the world that come together yearly from all over the world. My hair's going on end. And they come together and they're called spider women. And they're very, very spiritual people that do some wonderful things across the globe for each other and come together in a way that brings some healing power to the world, which I found really, really fascinating. And then what is it called? An acronym.
Yes.
I thought, I will make up an acronym. And this was a long time ago. I called it Spiritual Pathways Interconnecting Divine Energy Rhythms. I really like that.
I like that as well.
But sort of coming to a close on talking about the spider medicine, I really think that if you look at a character of any animal and you look how they live and what they do and what they create, when they come into your life in some profound way, they are giving you a message, and we are living alongside them, and they are part of the whole. So it's really interesting for me when I get to see certain animals and how that interrelates, giving me a message about life.
I absolutely agree. I feel like with the experience that I had, the thing that stood out to me, especially the saying that Gaynor said, "What a tangled web we weave." I definitely feel like when I saw that spider, I was in quite a predicament and I was in quite a low vibration and just not really feeling good at all. I'd had a terrible day that day. And really, I had been weaving a tangled web myself. So I think it is very much about what you're creating as well and taking ownership. And it really was around groups. I won't go into too much detail, but absolutely, the spider came to scare me and say, "Look at what you're doing. You're weaving your web and you're getting stuck up in it."
Yeah, I mean, it's so. I would imagine that lots of you that are watching this episode have had an experience. It may not have been with a spider, but I reckon that you may have come across a profound time in your life where either the synchronicity of seeing the same thing again and again, a little bit like the magpies, and there's lots of fables around animals. There's lots of information that they can give you in your walking life, which I'm repeating, sorry. But
now they're out of the way, I can take stage. Yes. I can take the stage and I can do the talking without them. Now, the thing is if you think of the spider and the way it goes and the way it moves and its legs, like what Nicholas said, they've got 8 legs. So they're a doing. There's something there for that planet. They have been on there for eons of years and they're still here. But there's many species of other animals that have gone off the planet. Spiders haven't, nor has ants. So even if you have ants, if you look at it, you don't want them in your home. So we end up putting nip-on down or whatever it is we put down. But they're actually giving you a message, because if you think of the ant, it works. So there could be a message in there saying that you need to change your job, or you may need to enhance your job. So if you look at that and think about it, everything that happens within our life is a meaning. There's a
message in a message.
Yes, did you hear that little voice behind? They've asked me to tell you about the traffic lights. I learnt that a long, long while ago. So we're going on to a different ball game now, because they're coming back now and they're going to get the ump with me because I've taken the stage. Oh my God.
Very sorry, I'm not sure what went on there, but I'm sure she's been speaking to you. We have just been out in the sun, soaking up some vitamin D. I do believe that Gaynor has something to tell you about traffic lights.
Still relating to signs.
Right, signs. So Josie in the week wanted to do something, and I said to her, well, there are signs, and most of my groups will know this, because I turn around and say to them, if you're in a car and you go through a traffic light and it keeps saying stop. Now, when I keep getting stopped, it drives me backs, because I like to just go through the traffic lights. But that, in actual fact, is a sign, red, stop. Stop and go within and listen to the voice within, because the time's not right. Well, then we come to amber, and I keep getting amber. But that is saying things are getting ready to go. So many times I've gone through and I'm thinking, it's coming. Whatever I'm going to be doing, it's coming. And the other one is when we go to green and you go through green, it's don't stop, it's go, go, go. So if you have something on your mind or you want to do something and you keep seeing go, don't talk about it, do it. I was talking to a lady, I'm doing a reading, and she'll probably know who this is, but she kept on saying that she wanted to do something. It'd gone on for years. I said, but have you tried it? So she went, no. I went, well, unless you try, you're never going to know. You've got to try to do this. Anyway, she has come back to me and said that she has signed in to do something now after all these years. It doesn't matter whether you fail, pass, whatever, because I failed on many things. But you've done it. You can't keep turning around and saying, oh, I'd like to do that, unless you start. So when you get to the traffic lights and you see go, please do what it is in your mind that you'd like to do. I'll hand you back.
So just giving you the information a little bit sort of more around the spiritual side of traffic lights. What we do is sometimes is we see certain numbers, we can see them on our phone, we can see them out in life, just things that repeat themselves, and then you keep seeing it and you keep seeing it. So when you're recognizing something again, like it's like a little bit of a tap, and it's when you know when something's talking to you within, and that's where we're coming from, is having that knowing and going with that. And going back to the coins, what happened on that particular night was I met a person, and inside my spirit, my energy, my intuition was, this is a yes. I have a yes. Yes, I'm gonna go with the flow with this. Instead of putting a barrier up or being a little bit hard faced, I was like, no, open up, go with it. And it was so exciting, and it was a real yes. And I even see the colour green in my mind. But within 2 days, it went to a complete no. And my body and my mind and my spirit went, no, I'm not going any further with this. This is a no. So it's looking at two sides of the coin. It's knowing that yin and yang. It's knowing when you're getting a message of a yes, and it's knowing when you're getting a message of a warning, and it's knowing when you get a message of a no. And that's where we're coming from. And that comes in life in all different guises. And one of the things that I find fascinating is this connection to the astrology and how that has intertwined in my life over the last year, and how it's really, really took me on a wider scale of seeing things in a bigger picture and understanding that whatever you're going through is not a lone experience, it's collective. And you find that your group of people, those people that are in your web, when you start to communicate, you realise that they're having a similar experience, but in a different story, in a different light. And hopefully, this moon phase is enabling us to see life very, very differently. And this forum, 111 Life, is really about talking about life in that way and it not being tabooed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm going to keep coming back to the coins because it's really been the theme of the last 2 weeks. And there is so many different ways to tap into your intuition. So we work with tarot, we work with colour, we work with astrology, we're working with numerology. You've got rune stones, you've got sigils, you've got books that you can just have affirmations to give you some kind of inspiration. And as we was talking about the coins, my grandfather was also in my dreams in this last 2 weeks. And then he was sitting in a chair, sitting back, and he was looking at things saying, what a mess. And again, things were a mess. I've had water problems, I've had floods in my house, I've had pipes burst. It's been absolute mayhem. And then coming back to the coins again, my grandfather used to do I Ching. And I Ching is a fortune telling with coins, if some of you don't know what that is. And also he used to use rune stones, which again have been around forever and a day. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of rune energy now, because I've got my granddad's runes here, which are really old. They were from my mum's shop way back in the day in Destiny's down at Rochester. For any of you that went there, I know that some of you are definitely on the group that experienced Destiny's, my mum and me. And I'm going to get Josie to pick one out. Now, the words that you need to use in your mind is you hold the bag, you put your hands in and you feel the stones. And while you're feeling the stones, you need to say, I will, to will, thy will. And you really need to have a clear question, a clear intent in your mind of what you need to discover, or what it is you're looking for in your life. Are you looking for an answer? Do you need confirmation of something? These are quite deep, by the way. And you can see these signs actually on the runes,
The north.
or everywhere. You can see them on trees, you can see them in, you can play with the clouds in the sky. There are signals everywhere. So Josie, I'm going to give you the bag.
Yeah.
You're going to think of a question. So this is the rune.
What do you think that looks like as well?
It looks like a bottle top. Milk top.
Yeah, it does.
There it is.
Right, this is called initiation.
Oh, I got it right.
And I'm sure that some of you who are listening to this, it might be something that you're really into. And again, if you are, come forward. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like to hear what your knowledge is around that. And if you've got any questions and you don't understand or you want to probe a bit more, post a question on the Facebook page or go onto our website, on our forum, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Can I just say as well, Peter Bowles, if you're watching this,
Oh yeah.
if you're watching this, please come on and tell us about initiation. I'd love it. Thank
Oh,
you.
I did a whole workshop with you, Peter. So so I'm just going to give you. I'm not going to go into real deepness on this, but give you just a little bit of information. Initiation in itself is going under a transition, an awareness, and that can come in many forms. So initiation is called birth, okay? And it is a secret matter. So what we've got here is, it's a mystery rune, and it's pointing to which is beyond our frail manipulative powers. So it's really giving it up to the universe, and it's unknowable. And its associations is with the phoenix. Now, we've been talking about animal power. We all know that the phoenix rises from the ashes.
What we call fate.
So something in your life you need to overcome.
Okay, yeah.
But you don't know how to yet.
God, no.
Right? Because that is in the journey of the initiation. Deep inner transformational forces are at work here. And on the earthly and mundane side, there may well be surprises. Now, remember, the spider surprised you the other night.
Oh, yeah. Terrifying.
This rune is symbolised by the flight of the eagle, soaring flight, free from entanglement. Oh, my God.
What a tangle web we weave.
And it's also to acquire broader vision. And another cycle rune perf signifies an intense aspect of initiation, hence this Scorpio intensity, this moon that we've been going through. Nothing external matters here except as it shows you your inner reflection. How interesting this is. How interesting it is, because this is synchronized with what we've been talking about.
Yeah, literally everything.
The deepest stratum of our being is where we need to go. And it's like being in the bedrock, which is where your destiny is founded. For some, birth means experiencing a psychic death, going through a complete awareness change.
With Scorpio as well, death, rebirth.
Yeah, how interesting. If need be, let go of everything. Have no expectations,
Ooh, okay.
no exclusions, nothing less than renewal of the spirit is at stake. how exciting. So what it's saying
Go
to you
with
is,
the
yeah,
flow.
go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
And you, again, a little bit like what's happened, similar things happened to me.
Go slowly.
It's, you have this yes, you have a feeling of yes, I'd like this. And again, something that my mum says to me regularly, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you get what you wish for and it isn't really what you want.
I've experienced that many times.
Same here.
Yeah, that's when the law of attraction comes in, but we'll speak about that another day.
Well, funny enough, you say the law of attraction, but as we're on the signs and symbols, I do have The Secret, the book, The Secret. Now, some of you like it, some of you don't. I'm using the book, The Secret, because I think it's such a worldwide known book.
That's a really old one as
It
well.
is. I've had it a very, very long time.
There's
I've had it when
movies
it came
like
out.
that.
And this is what I'm just about to say.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. No,
Right.
Cut me out of that bit.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So some people may have affirmation books. Some people use the Bible. Well, I'm going to say that I would use probably anything, to be fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a question, and I'm going to open The Secret, and I'm going to ask about this whole synchronicity of this World Wide Web and this energy that we're talking about, to reveal to us what are we meant to learn at this time in the world. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to go down. When you say to yourself, I'm going to have a pleasant visit or a pleasant journey, you're literally sending elements and forces ahead of your body that will arrange things to make you visit or journey pleasant. When before the visit or the journey or the shopping trip, you are in a bad humour or fearful or apprehensive or something unpleasant, you are sending an unseen energies ahead of you, which will make some kind of unpleasantness. Our thoughts, or in other words, our state of mind, is ever at work, fixing up things, good or bad, in advance.
Oh, I have something I want to say about this.
Go for it.
Brilliant. It is true though.
Yeah, definitely. That, I think that will relate to a lot of people, and obviously some people find it hard to be positive all the time. But something I really like to do, which has like led me through my life in the past few years, which I'll always do for the rest of my life now, is prayer. And I found this works so well, and relating to that, so it's saying, if you say you're going to have a pleasant visit or journey, then you will, etc., etc. But sometimes, you know, I'll be going somewhere, I might feel a bit anxious about it, there might be people there I'm unsure of, or really any situation. You might want to get home safe, you might want to have a good time at a party, you might want everything to just be nice and happy, literally anything. So what I always do, I always pray to the angels, no one specifically. I just find that that works really well for me. And I'll just say, you know, angels, please ensure that I have the best time, and I'll fill in the details. You know, I want laughter, good times, I want everything to go well for the highest good of all. So whatever's meant to happen will happen. Sometimes you still have experiences that aren't going to be great, but I have found most of the time I'll have a great evening, everything will go well. And usually if something doesn't, because I've known that I've prayed and I've released it and it's worked, when things don't go well and you have an obstacle in your path, sometimes really there's still a lesson in that or something you needed to learn. So I agree with that, and that's as well, but that's personally what I do and what I got from that.
You was transfiguring as you were saying that.
Oh, was I?
Mm.
How do you know?
Into
What
what?
was it?
And our children, she went straight in as she was talking, just kept turning, and as she was turning, I kept going.
Really? I was feeling a bit.
No, you weren't. That was. I thought that was good.
Thank you. Well, yeah, that's something that's like really close to my heart and just works so well, and I just feel so connected.
Your
to that.
eyes went like that, right up. They seemed to go right up like that.
Oh my god.
Okay. You were with that. So yeah, so really the theme of this episode is about signs, signals, synchronicity, and just really tapping into what your subconscious mind or what the energy is giving you. So on that note, I would imagine that we have covered quite an array of subjects. there's just so many tools out there to work with and just to get a feel of where you're going in life. It may not be your bag, it might be your bag, and it might be that you don't understand it and you want to understand more. That's what this is about.
And people can enhance as well. If they come back with something that you know more, we're only touching the surface. If you've got something that you want to say to tell us, great, isn't it?
But yeah, not only that, you might be going for a really hard time at the moment. You may have that inner voice that you might not feel confident enough to say to people, where you are having those synchronicities, you are having those little knocks from the universe, but you need to understand it, or you might need us to give you some feedback on what we may think that is, and then whether that relates. And it might just make you feel a bit more uplifted. It may give you some guidance to go forward. This is how we work with people. This works for people. Thank you very much. 111 Life is here to serve, and we really love the idea that you are joining our group. Please hit us on YouTube. We're now out on Spotify. You can see us on Facebook. You can also find us on our website, and that'll all be posted with this new episode and podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One
life.
Yeah.
Catch it, put it in a jar to have and to hold. To save for later, you cannot trust it to come again. To wait for you to find a pen and fill the paper with the message that it wants.